All right, guys. Well, before you come and order your door equipment, you've now weighed the door. You know that okay, this is a single door, so we don't worry about that. Or you need two springs, and you want to come in and order equipment. Just a couple of things to check before you order your equipment. The first thing to check is your cables. You want to check all your cables. You want to check at the bottom, especially where it goes on the door for any rust, because water can go down there. You want to look for any fraying or anything, any damage to the cables. If they're not 100% correct, we change them. Cable drums don't need to be changed that often. They're quite hardy, so we don't really need to. Your torsion bar. To order your torsion bar, it's quite simple. It is supposed to extend 70 mils out. That's the minimum. And there's 10 mils there. So you should need 80 mils there. So we are just going to measure across. So we've got 3 meters and 6 meters. So you want to measure your torsion bar, 3 meters for a single, but measure it and then add on a minimum of 160 between there and there. So you make sure your torsion bar is long enough, because you don't want a 3-1 and then you got a custom door that takes a 3.5. Then you want to look at your bearings. I like to replace the bearings, but the client doesn't always have the budget to do all of that, because when you look at your bearings, and this is a heavy duty bearing, it's not the most robust spring bearing in the world. Remember these doors, I did a set of springs and bearings and stuff for a door. It was running 30 years, so you know how many cars wheel bearings need repair. They don't last that long. So it's a good idea to change the bearings. You get your center bearing that comes singular, and then your side bearings come in pairs. Remember, when you're standing inside the garage looking out, everything red goes on the left-hand side, everything black goes on the right-hand side. So that's what you're measuring. When you're measuring your bearings, we have two different varieties. We've got the standard. So basically from here to the center is 81. I think 81 to the center of the bearing. For the standard, the heavy duty is 111 from there to the center. So the heavy duty bearing is going to be about here. So make sure you've got that. Then you know the side bearings also from there to the center will be 81. So that's how you measure between your standard and your heavy duty, because these are heavy duties. They're a little bit, the center of the bearing sits a bit further out. So that is 111 to the center. One doesn't want to really order the wrong bearings. And so that's your center bearing, your side bearings, your cables you've checked, and then also your cable drums. There's different types of cable drums. There's different diameters and there's different widths. So measure your width and make sure you get the correct one. This is 30. This is for a standard door. A caravan door is wider. We have all the dimensions on our website. You can look. So you want to look at the width and you want to look at the overall diameter, which is 110. So this is a standard door cable drum. So make sure you get the correct cable drums if you are replacing, correct length and correct size. Then just one more thing before you carry on anything else is a lot of single doors will only have one spring. Now look at the center bearings. This is a center bearing and that bulges on that side. Okay, on this one it's on that side. On some of them they're on the other side. Depending on supplier, you're going to get different. So if you're using one spring, this one has the bulge on the right hand side. The bearing actually sits in there, but that also works as a stabilizer. So if you get a left hand side single spring for a single door and your bearing sits on the other side, there's nothing to stabilize it here, and that's not really going to be that correct. So make sure that your center bearing, the side the bulge is on, that's the side you get your single spring for. Then when you bolt it on, it's going to be nice and tight and it's not going to flop around, unlike that. If it's double springs, you don't need to worry, they bolt together and that's good. You might want to get a fastening kit, and we also sell short lengths of plank because often you need to change or move or extend or whatever this, and I like to refasten it and make sure that that bolt goes all the way through into the wall. And guys, that's pretty much it before ordering. So just to reiterate, your length of your torsion bar, is a 3 meter going to be long enough, or is a 6 meter going to be long enough? Your cables, what condition are they in? Your cable drums, I always change the torsion bar when I change springs. I always do it because, as you can see, when you tension them, this is a 2 mil. Some guys prefer 1.6, depending. So that always will damage it, and you're going to find torsion bars all dented in here. The next guy to come along and work along with that door, it's going to be dangerous for him. And of course, your bearings and your center bearings, what size are they? And that's about it.